Hello everyone, and hello Georg. This is the year-end update on 3GPP SA plenary 90 e-meeting here with Georg Mayer, the SA chair. Hello Georg, and can you please fill in what has happened in particular from the critical communications perspective? Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Tero. Thank you everybody for having me, and welcome to this last short summary of the last plenary that we had this year in 3GPP SA. So number of things happened, and mostly more related to the administrative side, but I think quite a number of them will have impact on the mission critical community. So I go through them one by one. So the most likely the most important decision that we took was to extend release 17 by 6 months. So now we have decided to have the stage 2 freeze, which is for SA2 and for the other SA groups the most relevant, by June 2021. And then the stage 3 freeze will be in March 2022. That is the protocol work when the stage 3 groups, the business and the coding AI will be later seen for June 2020. So these new timelines are effective now, and the groups, all the RAN, SA, and CT groups will work based on them and will plan based on them. We already have planned the working group meetings in all the TSGs for the next half year to be e-meetings only, and we will investigate whether we can have face-to-face meetings again from the second half of 2020 on. It's absolutely not sure if that will happen, but let's be of good hope and see what happens. Release 17 progress then. I can only say the progress is as planned. So it's really there are no big surprises now. It's very stable, the output that we get. So the e-meetings prove themselves to be effective, not as effective as the face-to-face meetings, as we wouldn't have needed to shift. But I think we are doing very well. And for example, in SA2, also in SA3, the release 17 studies are now all completed by 80 to 100%. So the studies are done more or less, and everybody is now looking into the work items. So this is the normative work, and that should conclude within the next 6 months. Now, maybe of interest for you is that we also had quite a discussion on release 18. So the release 18 timelines, the official timelines, they have not been fixed. And I don't foresee that they will be fixed before December next year. That's the usual time when we would do that. But for SA1, we see they're having quite some load already on release 18 studies. They're having 16 of them already ongoing, which is an all-time high. So SA1 will be quite restrictive on agreeing new requirements and new studies into release 18 from now on. Doesn't mean everything is closed, but it's really now people will have very critical eyes on everything that is new coming in. With completely new ideas, bigger ideas come in, most likely they will have to wait until release 19. And then the stage 1 work, so the requirements work, is planned now for the moment to continue until December 2021. So the normative work on the work items will start from now, and then there will be more or less a year until SA1 can complete the requirements work. And that will coincide, as I said before, with the date when we then fix the timeline for release 18. There was quite some discussion on the requirements tracking. So this is an issue that is raised by verticals again and again, that maybe 3GPP requirements are not too transparent from the moment on they are approved in SA1, what happens afterwards with them, in which working groups they are going. And we're trying really to improve the transparency here, that it's easier for newcomers and for smaller companies to approach our work. It's a bit of a challenge, and we had now for 2 plenaries intensive discussions on that. A proposal that was at the table was not approved, and we see there is more need to discuss. We see that some people think there are already good mechanisms in place and maybe they have to be used in a different way. So we will continue the discussion for the next 3 months, and I hope that we will then see better solution proposals on the table. So this is something I think where the mission critical folks might also be quite interested in, because we see that from maybe like the first step into SA2 and SA6 from the requirements part, this is always an easy step to take, or a fairly easy step to take. But once we go into security, into the protocols and so on, seems to be for most of the verticals still quite challenging to follow up that work. So I would recommend, if you're interested in this, please participate in the discussion. This will go on over the next few months on the SA Reflector. What else did we do? So although we are in e-meeting mode, we decided now to do elections from March on. In March, all the 3GPP TSG officials, so the chairs and the vice chairs of RAN, SA and CT, will be up for election. And we did some test run with our new voting and election tool that was provided. The tool is very nicely integrated into the web pages. I think the test was really reassuring, was very positive. It mimics to nearly the full extent the face-to-face way of doing votes. So I think we were really good there, and we're looking forward to the elections in March. We also had contributions on inclusive language. So there are some possibly offensive and insensitive terms in 3GPP specifications that, at least from release 17 on, we will now replace with more appropriate terms. And we started this initiative now. Whether this will be done also for earlier releases, we will see. In March, we will have a first checkpoint where we see CRs on these issues. And then the terms of reference of the different groups have been updated. They are under update. I think SA6 also will be discussed further. So this is really the description of what the group's tasks and headlines are. So it's always good to have that in good shape. This is now currently done as a 3GPP-wide initiative to really revise all the terms of reference. And I also would recommend to you to have a look into the terms of reference of the groups that you are active in, and maybe give some input to your chairs. There was a number of smaller technical issues: edge computing, quality of service monitoring, service function chaining. Those ones are not so relevant for the mission critical community, so I dare to jump over. But what I want to remind you again is the stage 2 work in SA2 and in SA6 is now really going into the normative phase. So for release 17. So if you are interested in any of the release 17 items, proximity-based services, which is sidelink, multicast broadcast services, network automation, edge computing, industrial Internet of Internet of Things, network slicing, all these things are handled in SA2, and maybe you want to have at least a quick look into the work items to understand what's going on there and if there's anything of interest there for you. And then also, obviously, in SA6, we had new work items, service enabler architecture layer for the verticals. There will be enhancements for this layer, and also the work on drones. So the unmanned aerial systems has started now as work item. All these things cannot be like really split and said like this is only for mission criticals and this is only for other verticals and this is only for the network in itself. We see more and more that the longer you are with 3GPP, the more interest most likely you will have in all these dedicated issues as they affect one way or the other the services that you want to provide. Yeah, I think that's all from a hopefully quick overview. Let's see. Tero, you have any questions left?
Well, thank you very much for that. I think that was a good summary, and indeed, yes, many items have a flavor that can improve the critical communication vertical operation, and from our point of view, of course, the bigger the market and the availability of the products, the better, and it enables us to address things. Now, as community, we are entering operational phase in few countries, and I trust that will generate a whole lot of new requirements and new innovations, which I would believe that would be then things to be brought in release 19, perhaps as we gather a little bit more experience on those. All in all, I think progress is pretty good, and indeed the work on having greater visibility and easier clarity which requirements are moving down the stages is also always useful. And I think I understand the various comments addressed, but in all general information sharing and transparency and marketing of 3GPP work, I think everyone wins if even a regular person has ability to find out that something has moved from the stage 1 to all the way to stage 3. But like I said, I do understand the comments that those who are working very heavily and long days and nights, they are not so keen on taking more work on them. So balance needs to be found there. You mentioned that the elections are coming in next quarter, basically. So what would you think that would be the key challenges for the next chairpersons in these various TSGs when we look a little bit further down the road?
Yeah, I think first of all, thanks for the reply, and on the requirements, I fully agree with you. I think my feeling at the moment is maybe we thought we need a solution first, but maybe we also need to educate some people first, because if there are many companies in 3GPP, obviously, that cover all the working groups. And from their perspective, it's sometimes not so easy to understand what are the problems of smaller companies that maybe only have 1 or 2 delegates, that maybe have to justify every business trip to a meeting. So from that perspective, we need to maybe make these problems a bit more obvious, and we're trying to do that now. Then what are the challenges for the next 2 years? Well, I think we're still running under the headline pandemic, and we had now a meeting planning for the meetings in 2022, 2023. We see already there still the pandemic is an issue, because there's like shifts of hotel penalties and so on. So that there are issues from the pandemic that will follow us for quite a long while. The new leadership will go immediately into e-meeting mode, which is not that easy, but it's manageable. We saw that. So there is still a lot of discussions and decisions to be made that come out of the pandemic situation, and that require us to be flexible and on alert all the time. But we did it so far. I'm convinced anybody who will be trusted by the community to take a chair or vice chair position will be capable of handling this in the best possible way.
Yeah, I think also that there's an upside to this pandemic, in that sense that now as working group meetings are also e-meetings, it is actually far cheaper for the for the companies to have somebody to observe a little bit what's going on, whereas in the past having persons to travel for a week to a working group meeting to wait that their one topic shows up for 25 minutes, it's a very big challenge to justify to management. So in this sense, there's also a lot of good in this mode, although I must say that it is rather stressful.
Yeah, and it's hard to not see people face to face. I mean, it's obvious during these meetings, a lot of the discussions go on outside the room. We don't have the time to have all the discussions online, and it's really necessary that people see each other. So we will go back to face as soon as possible. But I agree, we see a tremendous rise in participation numbers at the moment, because people just dial in and register, which is good. So maybe this is also sort of a promotional activity now for 3GPP, I hope.
So in this sense, I would really like to encourage everyone to have a look on those topics which are going on release 17 right now. Follow most of all obviously SA6 for critical communication topics, but also potentially check out those things in SA2, as more and more things which are relevant for us are dealt there as well. As it is now, it's just one click away. So please utilize this opportunity as long as you can, and enable people in your organizations to get familiarized with the work of 3GPP, because then it's far easier to join the face-to-face meetings when you already have had a little bit experience on this. And with these words, I'd like to thank you very much, Georg. Thank you very much again for the great work you have been doing for our vertical, likewise for the entire telecom community. And I'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Tero, and thank you, everybody. I wish you also Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, good start for 2021. I hope it will be an easier year than this one, and have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.